Now, before we enjoy cultural performances, I'm pleased to invite our honored guests to make brief remarks. First up is Frank Wu, president of Queens College and a trailblazing Asian American. At Queens College, the University of California, Hastings College of the Law, and at Wayne State University Law School, he was the first Asian American to serve in his roles at each of the institutions. Born in America to Chinese immigrants, Frank is the author of Yellow, Race in America Beyond Black and White, and co-author of Race, Rights, and Reparation, Law and the Japanese American Internment. Please welcome Frank Wu.
I believe in this nation, as my parents did when they crossed the Pacific Ocean, like so many of you and your parents and grandparents, like our ancestors who built the transcontinental railroad which united these United States. This nation beckons with freedom and opportunity. Yet we must work together to put our principles into practice. During the past 2 years of the pandemic, as we sheltered at home, we saw in those viral videos that circulated so much hatred. People who attacked the elderly, who attacked women, who attacked elderly women, shouting slurs at them, spitting upon them, shoving them to the ground so hard that their bones were broken, sent to the hospital in critical condition, stabbing them, even shooting them. And when this started, people would say to me, oh, it's just random violence. But we saw so much of it. This hatred, as people said, go back to where you came from. This virus is your fault. You made us sick. That it became clear this was a pattern. And it was about the color of our skin, the texture of our hair, the shape of our eyes. Never mind if we were Korean or Filipino or Burmese or even in some instances Chicano. And never mind if we were third generation, if we helped to build the Chinatowns of New York City. Yet I still have the same hope my parents did, and I trust that you do as well. Why? Because words matter. And now that we have seen this, so many have joined us in standing up and speaking out against hate. So we know that we have allies in this fight. Coalitions matter, because we cannot do this alone. 20 million Asian Americans, 10% of the New York City population. That sounds like those are big numbers, but we need to reach out to our brothers and sisters who face the same issue of racial profiling. We need to march with the Black Lives Matter movement. When my father, an immigrant, was watching the trial of the killers of Mr. George Floyd, transfixed as so many of us were, he remarked to me, and some of you know, as I do, that in these Asian immigrant households, it's not often that fathers and sons have conversations, but my father said to me, what they did to that man was wrong. And I knew that for him, even though we rarely talk about these issues, that he, in that moment, identified we are not the model minority. We are not perpetual foreigners. We are members of this nation who have staked our family's fortunes on this side of the Pacific, and we belong. This is our moment. Finally, I'll conclude by saying actions matter. As a college president, sometimes students call me out and they say, is this real or are you just performative? And I know that the students have it right, that it is not enough to give a speech. It is not enough to come to a Lunar New Year celebration. Those of us who are leaders, and every one of you in this room is a leader, we have an obligation in our day-to-day lives to address not just the hatred and bigotry which is in your face, but what is subtle, the implicit bias, the microaggressions, those comments about how do you like it in our country? My, you speak English so well. Where are you really from? As if to suggest that we cannot be New Yorkers through and through. I'll conclude by saying this. We are gathered here at a historic site, and that is what makes me so proud to be an American, because true to our principles, anybody, any ethnicity, any faith, whatever language they speak, whatever their sexual orientation, can come to this nation, remake themselves, write the scripts of their own lives, and insist, I am an American. And they can be invited into these halls where history was made by the very founders. That is what makes this nation great. This city upon a hill, an experiment in self-governance, a diverse democracy, which is ours if we can keep it. Thank you so much. This is truly a new year, a new era. Stand up and speak out. Thank you so much.